Hi everyone and welcome for a new color and chat video. So you have voted and 47% of you voted for a Maria Trolle book and it had to be Twilight Garden, and 48% of you voted for this page with the nest boxes here and the lovely flowers. My name is Katja, I'm CatColouring, and a warm welcome to my channel for this color and chat video. Grab yourself your copy of Twilight Garden and your coloring pencils and let's get started on this one. I will not be using soft pastel for the background because we have so many tiny spaces here that if I used cotton pads, then I would get it all over and had to erase. And if I use cotton swabs, well, it would probably be the same because they are not as sharp and pointy as coloring pencils could be. So I will be using my Prismacolors, and the only reason for this is actually that, well, I know that Prismacolors work really nicely on the paper in this book, so I usually use them. I have also used Staedtler Aerosoft, and they also work very nicely, but they do have a limited color palette, 24 or 36. And I want to use different colors here, so that is why I use my Prismacolors. But then I also know that the result is really great. So when I look at a drawing like this, I always start with my color family chart. And this one is the color family chart from Color with Claire. And you can see it's so worn out that I will have to repair it very soon. You can hardly see the grays one down here. And then I look at the colors, and I think I want some nice spring-like colors because today the sun is shining and it's really spring-like. So I will be using the light green with the gray-green light on top, and perhaps also the not photo blue with the sky blue light on the top. So let's see here. So just a very light pressure here. And I think that I will just put some music on with the background here, and then we can begin talking really here with coloring all of these flowers and the nest boxes. Okay, so let me just repeat that I used light green and then gray-green light on top here, and not photo blue and sky blue light here. And as you can see, the sky blue light is so small, it actually hurts a bit in the hand to use such a small pencil. So I just need to stretch out my hand and the bones in my hand. So here we have some lupins, we have a couple of roses, crane's bills, and I call them star-shaped flowers, but they are actually called something else. I can't remember just in the moment. And then we have these flowers up here. And I'm not quite sure what they are. In Twilight Garden, we don't have an index in the back, well, flowers and animals, but they are in her following books. So I think that I want to, as I said, use some sort of spring-like colors here. But at the same time, I can't really imagine lupins being other than some sort of a blue-purple, because I have had them in my garden and I love the blue-purples most. I know that they are also pink and some are yellows, and it's very nice to have different colors, but I really like the purplish blue the best. They are my favorite sort of lupins. So I think that I will just take the... Oh, I think violet is perhaps a bit too much. I think I will use the Imperial Violet here for the lupins here, but I have to sharpen it. And you can see no problem sharpening it when it's this length here. Well. So I will just add a layer of this Imperial Violet. Yeah, I really wanted to be done with this color and chat last week, but first and foremost, it took way longer to edit my colored pencil collection video than I had anticipated, because I also had to, do timestamps and write down when a clip started and it ended, and write down the names of the coloring pencil brands I presented in the clip. So I think it took me 5 days to edit that video, also because, I had to go to work and earn a living. And also had a long day with meetings on the Wednesday, so it really just dragged on and on. And then on Tuesday, Eriy issued her announcement on Instagram with the new book, which was a complete surprise for many of us, because I hadn't really heard of it. I know that I am in a coloring group on Facebook, where we show our colorings in Eriy books. And there was a Canadian woman who wrote, "Do you know anything about the new book by Eriy?" And most of us were, what? No, don't you mean the World Series? But that's kind of old now. And she was insistent. And then on Tuesday, February 25th, then Eriy announced it on Instagram. And I was like, wait, that book, she showed the cover, it was completely different. And I thought, well, this must be a new book. And I went in to her link on Amazon Japan and ordered the book, and then I got it on the Friday. So 3 days later to get a book from Japan to Denmark, I think that is really, really nice and quick, actually. So the details in these lupins, they are very small, so I am just giving it a light layer. No hot pressure here, but just a light layer, because I am going to blend with another color. And you can see I leave the top sort of blank, because they are always sort of greenish in the top. So I will be using my chartreuse here for the top of these lupins. Well, and then when I got the book, I had to do the flip through, and then I acted really quick and made the translated flip through of the book and issued that also on my YouTube channel. So most of last week was editing the colored pencil collection video and then dealing with Eriy's new book. So I didn't have time for this color and chat, and then I had to do a color along for the members of my coloring community. I did that also from a Maria book, and I can just see I have forgotten a little background there. So I had to find out what pencils work, and I used the Black Widows, but at the end I wasn't quite satisfied with using the Black Widows, because I do think they got a bit too waxy. I think that the lead was perhaps a bit too hard for that book, so perhaps I will use an oil-based pencil later. So now we have the tip of these lupins, but I also want another color, and I have just used the Imperial Violet. So I think that I will use here the Blue Violet Lake to blend the color more in. And just color here on top. So I haven't colored in the new Eriy book, but perhaps I actually will, because well, we had this vote here on the channel a couple of weeks ago, and I promised that I also had to do both I think it was Hannah Carlson that won the vote, or was it Johanna Bastford? I think it was Johanna Bastford, and then I made the video in Magical Worlds, and then a lot of people also voted for Maria Trolle. That's why I am doing this color and chat here, and in a Maria Trolle book. And then a lot of people also voted for an Eriy book. And I had thought about, just doing a romantic country, because a lot of people have the romantic country books. But now I have got the new book, and a lot of people have. So I was wondering if I should make a color and chat in the new book. If you have any preferences, write it down in the comments, or else I might actually have a little vote with which book by Eriy I should use for the next color and chat. And then I also had a vote, and a lot of people voted for Klara Markova. That vote was actually meant for the members of my coloring community, but by accident I made the vote public, and I saw that 81% really wanted to see a video of Klara Markova book, and then I thought, well, then I will do it for the whole channel and not just the coloring community. So a Maria Trolle now, and then an Eriy, and then a Klara Markova, and then we will have votes about future illustrators, of course, for these color and chat videos. So you can see now it's blended. So when lupins are big, they have some sort of a light line of some sort in them, but it's a bit difficult to do it here. I do think that I will try with the cloud blue to see if I can add just a little shine, perhaps not much, but I could try with the larger ones. No, can't really see it well. Oh, here you can see it. Perhaps it's just a matter of pressing a bit harder. Well, and now for the stems here, and as far as I remember, lupins are, aren't they a bit reddish dark in the stems, I think, and I just have to find some more green colors. So we have a Tuscan red here. I just want to add a little bit of red here on the stem. And that was it. And then a peacock green to have a bit of a more dark, and then just a little of the peacock green here. So yes, I probably will in a short while make a vote about what kind of Eriy book, but I think there are perhaps a couple of books I won't have in that vote, because I am actually doing, well, I am doing body colors in a couple of them. I have just well, I was a bit let down by the person I thought I should do body colors with in Romantic Country too. So I posted on Instagram and said that I was looking for some new coloring bodies. And I actually got two. I got a Pixinka Colors, and we're going to do at least one page in Romantic Country too, and we have already chosen it. And it's the Flower Fairy page. And then one of my subscribers and members of my coloring community, Jody, and we have agreed to try to make some body colors in World Heritage book, and we're going to do the Hummingbird page. So those books will not be in the vote, but I could do the Romantic Country one. I think that's a book that most people have, and then the Fairy Tales book, and perhaps the War Legends, and then the new one, and then people can vote between these books here. So I think that the leaves are usually quite dark, so I will use a dark green here to add some more green to these leaves. But notice that I don't color them completely. Just add some dark green here for some of the places where I haven't put the peacock green. But I'm really pleased that people also want to see a Klara Markova page colored, because I really love Klara Markova. And I have colored way too little in her books. And I have had her books just as long as I have had Maria Trolle books, I think. I do think that I got the Hanna Karlsson book after I had purchased some of the Maria Trolle books and the Klara Markova books. And then I will look here at my color family chart. So I have used peacock green and dark green. Two very different color families here, and also the Tuscan red here. So I need a color to blend with. That's a good question. A really good question. I think that I will go with the grass green. and blend it all here with the grass green. So yes, there will be no light spots on these leaves, but I might add some gray-green light here and there when I am done blending here with this grass green. So a couple of people have been asking me about making videos of my coloring book collection, and as I said in the beginning of the year, I will be making one eventually, just not now, because now I am a little swamped because I still need to review a couple of the coloring pencils I have purchased. Lately, I need to do a video of my vintage color pencils, and I think that I will do this a bit later here in March. And I will also be doing, of course, color chats and some color alongs for my members. So I do have a lot of videos to make here in March. So I haven't been able to have time to make a coloring plans for March, but I can tell you a little bit about the coloring plans. So after I posted the vote of the coloring books from Maria Trolle, I think I wrote Twilight Garden and Flora and Nightfall, and it was either Moon Valley or Luna. And quickly people chose Twilight Garden, and a lot of people really, and I love this book too, but I actually found out that Flora, I think it's this book, it really has a lot of spring pages or spring-like pages with tulips here, and you can also see some daffodils and tulips, bleeding heart flowers, and also, you know, spring. I think this is apple blossoms, perhaps cherry blossoms. You can also see it here. So I actually regretted a little bit that this one, well, it wasn't voted for, but I think that perhaps someday I can make a color along or a color and chat in this. And that is also because I really wanted to do, you know, some spring-like pages. But here we have the lupins here. Okay, time for more flowers. And originally, I had thought about making the roses pink, but I also thought, well, isn't it a bit too obvious? So I think that I will make yellow roses. So sunburst yellow, canary yellow, and I think I will use the deco yellow. So let's try one of the roses and see how that looks. So you can see here with the dots here, these are the sort of shadow areas, and Maria Trolle has already pointed us to these shadow areas. So here I will add a little bit of the sunburst yellow. There are more than one way to color like this. You can add the middle color or the light color and then use the other colors, or you can begin with the dark color or the darkest of the colors here. We will probably also need a darker brown for some more shadowing, but let me just, you know, put some sunburst yellow here. And I really like the sunburst yellow because it's not really orange, it's more of a really nice dark yellow. So I think that I will use, no, I do think that I will take the canary yellow then and color on top and add a bit more. So on top of the sunburst yellow, and you know, just add a bit more. And I'm still keeping the darkest of these colors at the innermost of the petals. And I'm sorry if my dog is very noisy, but he is huffing and puffing because I have just taken him to go for a walk, and the sun is shining, and it's about 15-16 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is like in Fahrenheit, but it's quite warm for being the beginning of March. And he is a dark boxer, not a yellow one, but one of the dark brown with stripes, and that's why I call him Tiger. And that means that his fur gets really, really hot when the sun is on him and shining down, even only here in spring. In the summer, we can only take him for a walk, in the early morning or in the evening, because it's too hot during the day for him, even if it's only, 20-25 degrees Celsius. But then we have a big garden, and he really loves to be outdoors in this garden all summer long. And he really, really is an outdoor dog. Compared to our other dogs, they also like being out, but he really loves it. I actually have had a sneaking suspicion that he might have had a sort of depression during the winter, because it's been very dark and cold, and he hasn't been able to be out in the garden all day like he was used to during spring and last summer and way into the autumn, because our September was really summer hot. So it was not until, the beginning or middle of October that we began really not being in the garden all day during the weekends. So you can see here, then you can add the deco yellow, and then it's just a matter of layering. And then you could also and I think perhaps I will try with this one, use perhaps a cream if you want an even lighter, or add or leave some of the paper, the white of the paper, if you want more highlights in your roses. I do like to have the colors, so I don't do all of those highlights that a lot of other people do, because I also want to have some color down on the page. And for the leaves, I like to use perhaps a little bit of some dark green here, because sometimes rose leaves are dark and sometimes they are more light and bright. Perhaps it depends on the sort of rose, perhaps not. I'm not an expert in roses. I just like to to color them. So a little bit of the dark green, and then we take apple green and color on top and out towards the end of the leaf. And I notice that I do this lightly because I like to layer the Prismacolors in this book on this paper, except for the backgrounds. Here I just add a light layer of one color, and then the top color, the lighter color, I just blend with it immediately. I don't want the background to be too strong. And then I use the spring green to just add a little bit more light here at the edges of these rose leaves. So now it's just a matter of layering, and if I wanted to add a little bit more shadow, like I said here, the 90% French gray is one of my very favorite sort of brownish colors. You can see here on the color family chart that we have the espresso and sepia, and also a dark brown and a dark umber, and then the French gray. And you can see here that the dark brown is not nearly as dark as the dark umber. The dark umber is really nice and dark. The espresso, a tone darker, and the sepia is also a bit light. And then we have the French gray. I think that the French gray works really nice when you want to add shadows to green colors, like in leaves. But sometimes when you try to add some shadow in flowers, the espresso or dark umber works better than the French gray. So if I were to add some shadows, I would do it very lightly here. I'll just show you. And a trick color on top of it, again with the green colors, to sort of, you know, you have a shadow, but it's not that obvious. So you try to blend it a bit more in here. And this yellow one, this, if I had used a pink color, I would probably use some sort of a dark gray color. Usually I do cool gray 90% or warm gray 70% or warm gray 90% with red and pink colors. And also blue colors. But with yellow, orange, and green colors, I use more brown colors for shadows. So now for these little flowers up here, and I think I want a little sort of peachy, orangey look. So here I have the salmon pink as a sort of middle color, orange as the darkest color, and light peach as the lightest color. So let's see what we can do with these. Perhaps we also need something here in the middle, but let's color this one up here. I think I will begin with the lightest color here. So I will do something I never do, because I usually begin with the darkest and work my way, but I will use the light peach to just color a little bit light, very light pressure here, these leaves. Then I will, and this perhaps is a good way of doing this with the lightest color first, because usually I begin with the darkest color and then the middle and the lightest, and sometimes I don't have enough room for the lightest. So I will add the salmon pink here. And the orange here where we have these lines. This is where it's darkest. And I think that we want the orange to be here. We sort of have some in here. And should we add another color? I do think that pale vermilion may be just too dark a color. But not some. If that's just, so I have used this, this, and this one. Perhaps a yellowed orange or a Spanish orange for the middle. This is a yellow orange. I think it will be too dark if I use this. Perhaps the Spanish orange. Then we will have just a little touch of yellow orange in this one, because the yellowed orange is really orange and the Spanish orange is more like a sort of cadmium orange yellow, or no, or chrome, I think. Chrome yellow. Yeah, that's nice. So if I layer the colors, give it one more layer with the light peach, and a bit more of the salmon pink, and then you can also, you know, add the tiniest amount of orange here, because the more you layer on top, the more it will disappear. So if you don't want this orange color, then just give it one layer and the color on top with the salmon pink. But if you do want it to be seen, then you would have to add another one. what to do about these? Well, I think it's just the same method here. Light peach. And some salmon pink. And a bit of orange. And of course the Spanish orange here. And for the closed ones, first the light peach, then salmon, and almost to the edges here, because this is more closed, and closed flowers are usually darker than when they are blooming. And then orange down here. So you can see the difference. Darker colors here and a bit more light here. So the lime peel will be a very nice green color to match here. Perhaps even in a combination with chartreuse. Do we have some leaves for these flowers? No, I don't see any leaves with these flowers, so just the stems. We'll just give it another layer here. Oh, it's hard to be a dog when you have been out walking. He's sighing loudly. And then a little bit of chartreuse to blend it in. And then you can, alternate between making these flowers darker or lighter on the page. So that was these flowers. Let's focus on the cranesbills down here, and you can see I have finished coloring the roses here. So I think that if we look here at this color family chart, that I would like to use some light pinks here for this one. This means that I think I will use blush pink and deco peach, because I think the pink one will be too strong, and also the hot pink, and the others are way too dark. So blush pink and deco peach. And perhaps also a white. I think I have a white. Oh yes, I have my white right here. So let's use the blush pink. And let's just begin by adding some of this. So unlike the more peachy ones, I begin with the dark color. Then we take the deco peach and color on top and add just a little more. So these ones, we have the darkest color at the innermost parts of the petal, and then the lighter colors on the outer side of the petal, whereas I have colored cranesbills several places in this book. You can see here the ones I did here, they were lightest here in the middle and then darker at the outermost parts of the petal. So you can do both here. And then the white, and I use the white as a blender. And then we need a color for the stem right here. So now it's blended, and now it's up to you. Do you want to give it another layer and make it darker, or do you want to go with this? I will just sharpen this one, the blush pink. to do some details. So I will just add some texture by making subtle lines here. So you can see it. And then I think that we need a little bit of a darker color for the middle. Or we can go with this, the yellow chartreuse. I think we will use the yellow chartreuse, because I don't think that the darker color would be suitable here. So let's try this one. Let's just color this with the yellow chartreuse and some blush pink. Deco peach on top and blending, and a little bit further out on the petal. And the white for blending. And the blush pink again. For a little detail here. And that's it. And then the leaves, of course. And I will just I think I will be using the olive green to give it a little bit of color. Especially here in the middle of these funny leaves here. And then I will use, because I don't want these leaves to be very dark, I will use the sap green light to color on top and add just a little bit more color. And then, of course, the pale sage to blend it all together. You can see the leaves here are light at the edges also, just like with the rose leaves here. And then here for the stem, a little bit of olive green, and on top the sap green light. So this is just a tad darker. And that's it. Time for these flowers. So let's look at these flowers here. Astrantia maxima, they're called in I think it's Latin. So I use the pink color now because I want more pink, and then I will blend it a bit out with the Deco Pink. You can't see the number, so I can't tell you the number, but I just tell you the color names. So here where we have these lines, I add the pink. And then I add the pink here. So I will not blend out the middle. So here I press hard because I just want the pink color to be here. I use my Kelly green to color in between of these pink dots, if you can see that. So I might even just color a little bit around them, because when you look at Astrantia maxima or Astrantia major, or what they're called, you can see some green here in the middle. And then I use the Deco Pink, not the Deco Peach, the Deco Pink, to blend out these leaves. If you wanted not that light, you could use the Deco Pink and then blend with white on these petals here if you wanted to. But I have already some very pale pinkish flowers here, so I do want these to have some more color. And here just the pink, and then blend it out with the Deco Pink. And again here, pink. And also here with this Kelly green color. And a little bit around these dots here. So let's try this one. We add some Deco Pink here, because you know some are darker than others, and then I use my white, but I just have to clean it because I used the white for the other drawing. So I will just clean the tip of my white just to make sure I don't get any other weird color blended in. Okay, so I use the white to just blend this pale Deco Pink. So you can see you can make them darker or lighter, and you can also do it down here. Perhaps I could even add a little bit of white here. Then this is a Prussian green, also almost gone here, but I use the Prussian green for the stems here, and just the Prussian green, nothing else. And also for these little leaves here. And that's it. That was all of the flowers here. The nest boxes, so let's color this one here in the middle. So first we have some wood here, a tree stump or whatever it is. So I really like to give it a brown color, perhaps a bit darker color than the nest box itself. So let's use a dark brown here and a light pressure, because we are going to mix and blend some colors. So as I was saying, we are mixing and blending some colors. Here this was the chocolate, so dark brown and chocolate, and then I have this tiny vintage here, or very small light umber. So I will just use this one to blend it all together. If I want to light some of this up, I could use the 20% French gray. By adding a little color on top, I can lighten up some parts of this wood here. But I also want it to be dark here, so if I use a dark umber, then we can certainly get a little bit of shadow here. And also down here. Okay, so now for the nest box itself. So this is a very cozy nest box. We can clearly see it. So the question is, do we want to color it in wood colors, or do we want to, well, you know, add some real colors to this little, it looks like a little house actually. So let's use, I will just use a black for the darker parts here, because it is really dark here. And perhaps a lighter color. We can, you know, it is wood inside, so it's not, you know, real windows. So let's use the chocolate here, and then a little bit of the light umber here. You can see it's still, you know, wood colors here. And now for this house, I think I would like to go with a sort of, well, not blue or anything like that, sort of a more ochre-like building here. Just rummaging through my coloring pencils, I think the goldenrod would be a nice color for this, and then the yellow ochre. You can see it here on my color family chart: goldenrod, yellow ochre, and then we can add a jasmine or a cream, depending on how light we want the highlights to be. I actually think I want to use a cream. It's not that often I use it here. So let's take the goldenrod with the sort of darker places, which is here under the roof of the building, and also here. And then the yellow ochre on top, blending, adding some more color. And also here. And blending here at the doorway and the windows. And using the cream to blend it all together and creating some highlights here. Make it a bit lighter. I think that we need the yellow ochre to be a bit more here. So let's use this cream to add a bit more highlight here. And the good thing about Prismacolors is that they are very soft, and you can keep on layering them on this paper because it has a lot of tooth. So if I have, well, you know, colored a little bit here, I can just add this lighter color on top, and then the fault will disappear. So that's one of the things that I really like about the paper in this book. It's very easy to work with, especially with the Prismacolors, and I think that's why well, they are my #1 go-to coloring pencil when it's this paper. You can see you can just keep on. So now a little bit more of the cream. If you want a more golden tone, don't use the cream, then use the sand or the jasmine, depending on how light you want it. I probably will with one of the other two houses here. Then we have a chimney, and a chimney is certainly not ochre color. I think I will use the French gray here. This is the 20% French gray, and perhaps it's even dark down in the chimney, so let's use the black here. And then we have the roof. So I think that if I look at my color family chart, so what should we use for a roof? Perhaps a Tuscan red will be too red. If you use a black raspberry, it's more of a brownish red. Could also use another brown, dark brown color. But I think I will try the black raspberry or the Tuscan red. I do think the Tuscan red will be too red. So let's try if I can find it, the black raspberry. And let me just sharpen this one so it's nice and sharp. I haven't really used this color that much. You can see it's a very long, nice pencil. And it's funny, I haven't used it, but then it has some wear here with the color number. That's a bit weird. So let's leave a natural highlight here. So I will just color, but leave the bottom part of this without any color. Oh, and we have to color this one in a more wooden color. Wooden color. See, you have to have a quite steady hand. I don't always when you do this. But you can see it's not that red, this black raspberry. It's more of a brownish red, but more brown than red. So I think I like this choice instead of the Tuscan red. I think that the Tuscan red would have been too red, and we don't have any other, you know, red color here, so that would have been a bit weird. Whereas the ochre-like color matches the yellow roses quite nicely. It doesn't really clash. And this peachy orangey here, and then we have the more pink colors down here. It really, I think it's all right. I think it's some very nice color combinations. So here it must be just wood, so I just use the dark brown to color this. Then I actually might use a oh wait a minute, a very darker color, and this is usually the dark umber. I really like the dark umber, but I have to sharpen it because you can see it's not that sharp, it's a bit blunt. So if I want to get a nice result, I will have to just sharpen it to have a nicer tip. I will just add a little bit here, a little bit of shadow. If you want a more clear shadow here, I suggest you use the black. I just feel that the black might crash or clash, if you can say it, with the other colors, so I wouldn't use the black one here. I would, however, use the black up here, just to, you know, mark that we do have a chimney here, and perhaps on top here. Could also use this is a 90% French gray, just add some shadow here on this leaf. And that's it. So thank you so much for watching this color and chat. I hope you enjoyed it. I also hope, of course, that you will like this video if you found it interesting and useful. And if you just happen to stumble upon this video, I hope that you will consider subscribing to my channel and checking out the content I have on my channel, and you know, keep following me in my videos here on YouTube. So, upcoming videos, more reviews, and the first review will be the Derwent Lightfast pencils, because that is also way overdue. And also, as I said, a new series with a lot of valuable content for both beginner and more practiced colorists. So until I see you in the next video, have a lovely day, take care of yourself, happy coloring, bye!